When a woman has no one to love her but God, something inside her begins to break and bloom at the same time. You can give everything and still feel unseen, love deeply and receive nothing back, and wonder quietly why God is the only one who stays. You can be surrounded by people and still feel unloved. You can pour your heart out and receive silence back. You can love deeply, faithfully, generously, and yet find yourself ignored, misunderstood, or even replaced. A woman can smile publicly and break privately. She can hold herself together like glass until night falls and she finally cracks. Not because she is weak, but because she was made to love, and love longs to be received. So let me ask you something real. Have you ever loved someone who did not love you back? Have you prayed, waited, hoped, and still ended up with empty hands? Have you looked at other women, other couples, other timelines and thought, Lord, what about me? Here is where God meets you, not when you feel loved, but when you feel forgotten. Not in the fullness, but in the ache. Because when human love fades, His does not. When affection leaves, His remains. And when people fail to see your worth, He still whispers your name. The Bible reveals this tender truth in Isaiah. Though the mountains be shaken and the hills be removed, yet my unfailing love for you will not be shaken. Look at that carefully. His love is not fragile. It does not depend on circumstance, timing, mood, or approval. It is not unstable like human affection. If you do not realize this deeply, firmly, unshakably, you become vulnerable to the approval of others. You begin to crave attention just to feel whole. You become easy prey for manipulation, validation seeking, and people pleasing. And maybe this is where God has you not abandoned, but fortified. Not unloved, but preserved. He may be teaching you to root your identity in a love that won't leave. Because a woman who does not know she is loved by God will seek love from people who cannot hold her soul. She will chase affection instead of purpose. She will cling to anyone who gives half of what God offers fully. But hear this clearly. God is not teaching you to survive without love. He is teaching you to recognize it. He is building in you a foundation that cannot collapse under pressure. Think for a moment. What if this season is not punishment, but preparation? What if God is not withholding love, but protecting your heart from those who would mishandle it? When you only have God to love you, you are in the safest place a woman can stand, because divine love does not fracture, fade, or deteriorate under silence. So stay with me a little longer, because this is only the beginning. If you feel like God is the only one who loves you, you might be standing at the entrance of something holy. And what comes next will begin to shift how you see yourself, your worth, and your future. When a woman has no one to love her but God, something sacred begins to grow beneath the surface. Slowly, quietly, faithfully. It is invisible to others, yet undeniably real in her spirit. This is the place where God is not just your comfort, but your foundation. Not just your listener, but your teacher. Not just your healer, but the one who rewrites the story of your heart. There is a kind of strength that is not built through applause, validation, or romantic attention. It is built in silence. It is built in waiting. It is built in the nights where prayer becomes breath and worship becomes survival. The world assumes strength looks like independence, but heaven knows strength is actually surrender. Have you ever noticed how after every heartbreak, something inside you became wiser, harder to fool, slower to fall, more discerning? Not because you stopped believing in love, but because you finally saw what empty love looks like. Pain did not destroy you, it refined you. And refinement is the birthplace of purpose. God is not just preparing you for a relationship. He is preparing you to hold love without losing yourself. Because love without identity becomes dependency. Love without spiritual grounding becomes idolatry. And God cannot send a blessing where it will become a replacement for Him. Listen closely. You are not single because you are unlovable. You are single because your love is powerful, and powerful love must be stewarded carefully. God is building your capacity to receive love, but also to protect it, to nurture a relationship, but also to sustain individuality, to be with someone, but not need them to breathe. Do you see it now? The waiting is working. The silence is sculpting you. The lack is teaching you what fullness truly means. Many women wait for love to feel complete, not realizing that love built on emptiness collapses under pressure. But when God becomes the anchor of your worth, you no longer enter relationships hoping to be chosen. You enter knowing you already are. You no longer beg for affection, you offer it. You no longer search for home, you carry it. A woman who is loved by God becomes dangerous to the enemy. Why? Because she cannot be manipulated by flattery. She cannot be broken by rejection. She cannot be controlled by abandonment. Her worth is no longer negotiable. It is inherited. And maybe this is what God is teaching you now. That before a man is allowed to love you, you must first learn to stand in the love that built you. Before someone enters your heart, God must become the one who guards it. Before affection comes, foundation must be laid. Because when you know how deeply God loves you, no one else's love can make or break you. You can receive it, but you will never depend on it to exist. So let me ask you something as we move forward. What if your loneliness is not evidence of lack, but evidence of divine construction? What if the silence you hate is the space God is using to rebuild your identity? What if He is not delaying love? He is protecting destiny. We are only halfway through this revelation. In the next section, you will discover why God often withholds people until your heart can handle love without losing itself. Because when you understand this, everything changes. Not just how you see love, but how you see yourself. Was saved. When a woman has no one to love her but God, it is not the end of her story. It is the rewriting. This is the season where roots grow deeper than eyes can see, where God does not rush her forward, but anchors her downward, so she cannot be pulled away by storms, and the moment she thinks she is alone, heaven is shaping her into someone who will never be owned by loneliness again. There comes a moment in every waiting season where God shifts the question. She no longer asks, "Why does no one love me?" Instead, she begins to ask, "Who am I becoming with God alone?" And when that happens, her loneliness transforms into intimacy. Her yearning becomes worship. Her emptiness becomes capacity. If you are in that moment, don't rush it. Don't curse it. Don't call it wasted time, because this may be the most important chapter of your life. God is not just teaching you to live without human love. He is teaching you to live from His love. Those are not the same thing. One is survival. The other is strength. One leaves you seeking. The other leaves you stable. When you know you are loved by God, relentlessly, endlessly, unconditionally, something inside you stops begging for love from places that cannot hold you. You stop bending to please people. You stop shrinking to be chosen. You stop trading your worth for attention, because you finally understand that your value was set before you were born. Romans 5:8 says, "But God demonstrates His own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us." Not when you were perfect, not when you were chosen by someone else, not when you were loved beautifully, but when you were broken, unseen, unfinished. He loved you fully. If you do not know this deeply, your heart becomes a target. You will crave affection the way lungs crave air, believing someone else must supply what only God can breathe into you. Without divine love as your foundation, the opinions of others become your oxygen. Approval becomes addiction. Rejection becomes devastation. And God, in His mercy, refuses to let you live like that. So He brings you here to the quiet, not to punish you, but to strengthen you. Maybe you're learning right now that God's love is not just enough, it's everything. Maybe you're realizing that when human love disappeared, God remained. And maybe He is waiting for you to see it clearly. You are not unlovable. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are being rebuilt. When the time comes, and it will, love will not enter your life as rescue, but as recognition. The right man will not complete you. He will complement what God already established. He will not fill your emptiness. He will join your fullness. He will not pull you away. He will walk beside you, because two whole hearts make covenant, not dependency. And when God finally writes your love story, it will not feel like random timing or lucky coincidence. It will feel like alignment, like purpose, like prophecy fulfilled. So if you are a woman with no one to love you but God, hear this as your confirmation. You are not in the absence of love. You are standing in the presence of perfect love. And one day, when the promise arrives, you will look back on this season with tears, not of pain, but of gratitude. Because you will realize that God did not delay love. He prepared you to receive it without losing yourself. Stay faithful. Stay patient. Stay in His presence. He is not just loving you. He is leading you. If this spoke to your spirit, hold it close. Let it work in you and continue walking. There is another step ahead, and you do not walk it alone.